Hey friends, you're listening to the AI Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we talk tools, stories, and strategy for today's founders. I'm your host, Angelina Shively, and this show is for entrepreneurs who are curious about AI and want to know how to transform their businesses. In each episode, I share honest conversations about what's working, what's not, and the lessons learned along the way. If you're ready to use AI to save time, think bigger, and build smarter, you're in the right place. Let's go. Okay, audience, I am so excited. I have a very special guest on today named Erica Shoemate, and she is the founder and principal strategist of the EN Strategy Group. She helps startups and nonprofits to really close that AI and tech policy gap and how to use AI ethically to boost reach and engagement. So, welcome, Miss Erica. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. And I'm so happy to be here. So we're talking a little bit off camera. I am just so excited to engage in this conversation today and really share a little bit with your audience and really how I see our worlds merging together in this space too. Cannot wait.
I love that. Tell us just a little bit about yourself. How did you even get into that AI space? I love hearing origin stories. So,
Yes. No, I love it. So again, my name is Erica Shoemate, of course. I am the founder of the N Strategy Group, which E is for Erica, N is for Nia, which is my miracle, beautiful baby girl. And
that-
I work at the intersection of AI governance, national security, and trust and safety in helping companies truly build these powerful systems without losing control of risk, accountability, as we know, and of course, or people, because I'm really about this human centered approach and when we design around emerging technology. And so my background, and it'll all come together for your audience. My background spans from the FBI and across the US intelligence community, and then pivoting into big tech, where I've worked at Twitter, Amazon, and also supported Meta. And I've seen what happens when systems fail, get confused, not doing what it is set to do, and what it takes to get them right when the stakes are really too high and too consequential.
so tell us a little bit about what kind of services and work that you do currently in
Yeah,
this space, right?
absolutely. So a little bit about my business. My firm is the In Strategy Group is a boutique consulting firm centered at that intersection of AI governance, trust and safety, and policy strategy, and also career pivoting. We've seen a lot. I live in the Washington, D.C. metro area, and so much has changed just in this last year and a half. And as someone who successfully pivoted from working in the federal government in the national security space almost 6 years ago, I know what the journey looks like. I've been successful. Of course, it looked very different from where we are today, but still, I call it the math and the formula is some of it is really the same. And really it's about betting on yourself. And so I really help not only like companies build with AI, I help people do the same for themselves and thinking about how they can leverage their skills and expertise they built inside of, let's say, the public sector space and how to continue to use that regardless of whatever may be going on. And the hot topic of the day, your skills are your skills and your expertise
Right.
are your expertise, right? And every company still needs you. Somebody
Yeah.
always needs you, even if it's saturated, right? With
Yes.
this thing, we are still the only one that is like ourselves.
And we bring that
Uh,
expertise to the table. And I
y-
love that. And it's so interesting that you talk
yeah,
about pivot because it sounds like you and I both pivoted around the same time, like around COVID, right? So
yeah,
I was a
ahead of COVID.
I was an elementary school principal and I worked in education for 25 years. And, I always loved coaching and helping and supporting people. And so now it's like that shift, and you, like you said, you're bringing your expertise to the table, maybe in a different way
Way.
with AI, but it's still that expertise that you have that you can.
Yeah. And it's the same. It doesn't matter. I tell people, doesn't matter what the thought is of the day. Again, it turns out to be really the same in what you said about pivoting at the height of COVID. For me, it was having a miracle baby girl who was also not even a year post open heart surgery. And my husband and I making this decision to say, okay, both of us can't physically go into an office. Like, yeah, so that it changed so much about us and, life. We had already gone through so much before COVID and being able to see my own skills and expertise for I had been inside of the Intel community for more than 11 years at that time. And I really took a look and was like, tech is where I feel like I can flourish in the policy space. And so I literally have seen where like my skills immediately made sense as I pivoted to Twitter and about 90 days before the US 2020 elections. And so I was ready to hit the ground running and still I felt when I look back, wow, I really do believe my career in national security prepared me for a moment that I didn't even know was going to be laid at my feet in 2020. And really was just land this with, I don't just help you move or company move. If I make sure that you don't break something while you're trying to build it or that to the point it can be rebuilt. And that was kind of the constant themes through this, all the pivots I've had, honestly, since 2020 and honestly before too.
Super fast friend, if you're loving this episode, make sure you follow the show and leave a 5-star review. And if you want help actually using AI to build content and sales, come join us inside the school community, AI Amplified Entrepreneurs. The link is in the show notes.
All right. And tell us a little bit about, in that time frame, like how when you shifted from the corporate world
Yeah.
on your own, what did that look like for you?
Boy, so it's funny. So even when I was in public service, I always was doing something else too.
Right.
I'm just built that way, and I have always said that I'm a circle trying to fit into a square, especially being in public service. And then as I've grown and just life happens, I've also learned that I don't have to be a circle trying to fit into a square. And so thinking about what problems am I always trying to solve? Who comes to me for what, right? And so I am known as a person that people come to me for a bit of everything, and that's okay. And so I'm solving for this gap that most people won't even admit exists. So from a policy standpoint, I'm always thinking about policy sounds so good on paper, right? And in practice, it can fall apart under pressure. We've seen it time and time again. And AI didn't create that gap. It really just exposed it, quite frankly. And so I connect what you say to what your systems are actually doing to what
Okay.
people actually experience with your product, your innovation, that your platform. Because at the end of the day, impact doesn't care what you meant it to do. Yes, I care.
No. So what exactly, if someone comes to you and they're like, here's what I'm thinking, what does that process look like for when you work with
Ooh,
them?
yeah. So depending on if that person is interested in my policy expertise or from pivoting from an entrepreneur, from their everyday 9 to 5 or want to do their 5 to 9, the question is still always say the same. What is it that you need? What is the number one thing you're trying to solve for? And what is it that you or the company feels like you're actually missing? And then together we come up with that game plan. And so I always think about what I am, I want the customer or the client to be able to see for themselves, have that aha moment, right? And so having those three kind of top points and thoughts allows me to help them get there and showing them where then I come in to help bridge that gap for them, leveraging AI. I use a lot of different tools, including talked about, yeah.
'Cause we
And
love people talk.
yes. So some of the tools, of course, the big ones, ChatGPT and Claude, I kind of go back and forth between the two because I'm trying to get one to, in some ways, think like the other for because of like tone and voice. And so there's a thing with like ChatGPT I like for the tone and like the quick kind of response, but Claude does a really great thing of bringing about this finessed messaging. And so I
Yes,
show my clients how like to use them effectively to get what they want, because we know that AI is what you put in is what you get out. And so
absolutely.
I'll show them at times for their, big problem. I'll show them honestly like how to use it if they are an entrepreneur, because I want them when I leave to be able to successfully be able to take this thing on and flourish in their new venture, let's say, and walking them through what their, let's say, a consulting business could look like, and showing them this is what you're actually solving for based off of the conversations we are having, and giving them that game plan of, okay, this is step one, step two, step three, so that whenever you, as a client and as any entrepreneur that may be listening, you want to walk away and feel like you've been successful. And we
Right.
all need a carrot at the end of the day. And I'm always big on having that 1, 2, 3 action plan whenever we are done for the day. And so I really live by and lead with that every day.
I love that. That's so powerful. I noticed that you shared a little bit about your work with equity and using AI, the policy gaps. Like, what are some of the things that you're really noticing and seeing in that space? Because I know even from an educational standpoint, like right now in education, it seems like there's still such a fear around AI,
Yes.
and so I'm
Mm.
curious what you're noticing in your field about that.
Yeah, that's so funny. So I actually do some consulting work too in the AI education and literacy space as well. And also for your audience that may be listening versus say watching on YouTube, I am an African American Black woman leader, and also just added context. I'm also a first generation college graduate from inner city Memphis. I grew up in public housing or the projects, and so I know what marginalized looks like. And I also know that being at the margins is actually how it helped me to become the amazing human and leader I am today. And because of those things, I believe I have a duty to ensure that those that are still on the margins are, one, protected, they have a voice, and I help to be that voice, and also to educate, to have skepticism healthy. And it's okay to lean into your fear so that fear doesn't paralyze you, though.
Yes. Oh, that's so good.
Because one of my biggest things as a leader, as a teacher, as a coach is don't panic, pivot.
Mm.
We know that there is paralysis when we panic, but there's always power in the pivot. And then what I am truly
Oh, that's
believe,
good.
yeah,
I
I
love
know.
that.
Because the moment we pivot, when we make a clear decision, whatever it is, that is where we start to grow. And so, as someone in this space that have seen the good, the bad, the ugly, I mean, when I say the worst of the worst, I remember the FBI, national security, counterterrorism, and so all these things. I've worked around the world, high threat operations as well before my life here. And I know, like, it's not for me theoretical. I know some things. And
Right.
so I am working with big tech organizations on the things that I see a lot when you talk about bias. We know that's a big word. And what frustrates me most thinking about bias is that in real life, a lot of these things could be solved much
Mhm.
quicker than what they may made out to be or perceive, because we keep saying bias, but if you have the same people doing the same things, training these models, doing the thing, you're going to get the same results. Period. So to say that AI is neutral is a really ridiculous statement to make, because a human had to train that model. Yes, you're trying to be objective. I genuinely believe most have good intentions. However, if you have the same people that are looking like you, same lived experience, that's what the model is going to give. And so I am pressing to say, why don't you go out into the communities, meet people where they are? If you really want better models, literally pay the people. And you are seeing some companies that are turning into this type of model for creatives to get more people. I worry though with that we're still not getting to the people who are literally, to your point, I want nothing to do with AI. It
Right.
is a monster. It's costing me my job, or maybe it costs me or my family their job. So now I have this kind of very bitter taste in my mouth.
Right.
But what do we do with that? And so I am showing people to get their power back, how to do AI, as I call it, do it with operational security, with
Right.
knowledge, care, and shared responsibility. And as a mother to a very curious 8-year-old who begs me a lot of times to be on things, I'm like, you're never getting on. I am very much attuned to this fear, and I am walking people. Not only I do community work, I do the corporate work, and I also do, believe it or not, patient center work as well. And this is how I'm using these skills to show people what's possible when you can't afford to meet the expert in XYZ. This is how you can use AI without putting all of your PII information in to get what you need, showing them using brackets, showing them using X's, showing them how to minimize social engineering, all these things that maybe are running through their head. And understanding too the education piece around subscription versus non-subscription, what platforms are bigger on data and privacy and holding very close to that. That's why I do Anthropic, because you can have a free subscription and you can still tell it not to train with my data. Other platforms, not so much. And
Right.
for people who want to train a trainer, show their community, hey, if you got a Gamma subscription, I use Gamma tool all the time, and you want to do a presentation, but maybe you're not the best, go to Gamma. I do paid subscription, and I can create a presentation in 2.5 seconds, and I can share with my community, and it's visually appealing, and everyone wants to know more about it now because what I am presenting, they can actually engage with.
I love that. That's so good with using the tools that are out there to really I think that's the power of it is that sometimes people they don't and not to diminish, but they don't
Sure.
understand how powerful it can be. And I think the
Yeah.
more that we model that and show it, and then they can see, okay, it's really this can change what I'm doing.
Doing, yes. Yeah, but I have a cousin, like, do small business work as well. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I see you doing all this stuff with AI." He was, like, watching me and, just some of the things I share online, and he was like, "Can you help me? I'm trying to build out my business." And I was like, "Sure, let's have a whole session. I can show you how to do it." And no problem. So it's that thing, right?
And I think, maybe even too, like acknowledging that in a way it can sometimes bring us closer to others, making connections and building even in a virtual world, being able to, you were talking about an app that you're a part of that kind of brought us together, like it's
Yes.
cool.
Yes, love it. No, absolutely love this.
So tell me if you had some advice for really, our community is mostly entrepreneurs. Is there anything that you would say this is the one token or gift of enlightenment by Erica? What would you share with them? Something
So, advice for
could be a
your
tip, tool, like
yes.
for entrepreneurs to just really, keep in their minds when they're integrating with AI or starting out.
Yeah. One thing I would say is we hear this a lot, but if you are an entrepreneur and you're, of course, using AI to build business, build fast, make sure that the AI you are using sounds like you, is you. It You want AI to enhance you, not diminish you, but not overinflate you.
Yes. And I don't know about you, but I've been recently using Claude for this, and I
Yeah.
made a project and just uploaded, all the information, and it's
Yes.
so good what it's coming back with.
I agree with you. And so I do that too. And what I do, so for those going back to like you said, about marginalized communities or people who have fear around also just using AI. Yes, I uploaded some documents, but I still sanitize them before uploading them for things that I feel like are too sensitive or would be too close. You know, definitely sick as me if it was compromised. Or these are the things, the world I come from, that I'm
Yes.
always thinking about. And then your point, making sure that AI, like you're training it to know you, and it cannot know you without you truly interacting with it. Still, prompts don't work. You really want to be talking to this thing as if it was like your BFF for business. If that is how
Right.
you wanted to help maximize your growth and scaling in your business. And I am big on checking the source as
Mhm.
well. Not only am I thinking about not overinflate me, not underinflate me, maximize me, but also keeping my tone and voice. I'm also thinking about that AI is not the arbiter of truth. It's pulling from everywhere. So especially if you're doing something in your business that needs sources, that is like, needs to be that kind of North Star, you want to double check it. Because not only does the little caveat AI makes mistakes, oh no, it makes mistakes. I've seen it. And I'm like fighting, like a lot of times I'm like kind of getting a little attitude, if I'm being honest. I think,
But you lie.
yes, I'm like, no, this is not hallucinating. You just flat out lie. Like, period. Like, I did not stand the word hallucination. I'm like, no, it just made it up. Well, that's right, gosh. And then, and the very last thing to any of your entrepreneurs too, AI is a mirror, right? And if AI is a mirror, mirrors can be distorted. So this is why it is so important that we're checking and triple checking, particularly for things that are going to be disseminated externally outside of our orgs and businesses. It has your name on it. That means you have to own it. So just remember that. And then the last piece, I'll say something so simple. If it's any founder you're thinking about, I'm starting out, start with friction, not fascination.
Oh,
So
that's so a
important.
little bit more about that.
Yeah. Think about, where are you stuck? Where are you slow? What are you avoiding? That is where AI belongs. And thinking about the workflow, picking one at a time, not everything at a time. And I'm saying this as someone who has a neurospicy brain.
Yes.
And
I call myself a liar a little bit because I'm always giving the advice, like, don't go for the shiny object, but it's hard not to because
so
we have this fear of missing out on what if
I
I
could
don't know
also,
this? What if I
yeah,
don't know this thing and someone else knows it and then I'm going to be
oh my
behind?
gosh, and the rabbit holes, right? And I'm
Yes.
like, let me see. And so in the last piece, art took that. Even if you go down the rabbit hole, this is where you're going to become really good. And it is an entrepreneur, solopreneur, whatever. My biggest kind of like bold statement is, curiosity is the currency.
So good.
This keeps you out of that. Maybe you went into the shiny, maybe you got something that was like adjacent to the shiny that's actually even better. And so if you are always curious, always eager to learn in your business or your business, you're going to always be anticipating and thinking ahead. And that is, I call it my genius as a visionary, is I'm always 2 and 3 steps ahead, honestly, 3 and 5 years ahead, just because of, I know how to leverage this beautiful little flowery brain I have on the inside. And when I say curiosity is the currency, it really is about the thing that a lot of folks are saying, we're losing that critical thinking component. So,
Right. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. We could talk all day about this, but I so appreciate you
yeah,
as today. And if listeners want to find you, is there a special place that you want to send them?
absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram, IG, at the policy goddess, ThePolicy, goddess, GODDESS. Or I'm also on LinkedIn at Erica s.mpa. You can find me there. You can find me also, if you Google me, I am available on quite a few podcasts as I am so serious about this work in the AI space. And follow me there. On my website is also leadwithinstrategy.ai. And I'm sure you'll drop all of that information in the links.
I'll put them in the links for sure so listeners can follow up with you. Thank you so much, Erica.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the AI Amplified podcast for entrepreneurs. If you want to learn more about my work, head on over to my website at aicoachingwithangelina.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with a friend. See you next week.